I think you're going to be surprised.
All right, start with the Mount Rushmore. Or do you want to do reverse?
No, I'm going to do Rushmore.
Okay.
I'm going to do Rushmore here.
All right, I'll give
no
us a little
particular
calm
order
down.
anyway, because that's just how I interpret this list. So no particular order. Van Morrison starts off my list here. Born George Ivan Morrison on August 31st of 1945. Celebrated his 70th birthday this past week. He's an admirer of jazz, soul, and gospel. As a solo artist, Morrison has been recording since 1967. He was a lead singer for the group Them in 1963 until 66. The group's hits were Here Comes the Night, Baby Please Don't Glow, and of course, Gloria.
All right, forget about that, though. Just tell me, just be honest. Don't look at just tell me and tell everybody why. Why for you, influence on you that makes you want to put him on there?
Well, that's where I'm going into this. I have a lead up here.
Oh, is that what this is?
This is a lead up.
All right, give it to me. You're getting me excited. I know you're going to sell me on it. You always do sell me.
Well, you know what? I mean, let's start off with his 1967 smash Brown Eyed Girl from his album Blowin' Your Mind. Goes on from Astor Weeks, Moon Dance, his band in the street choir, Tupelo Honey, and so forth.
Can't argue with that.
He is all soul. He is spiritual. He is funky. He's incredibly shy on stage. He has a very big reputation for being quite shy and, as a matter of fact, walking off stage and leaving concerts because of that.
And it's not a gimmick.
And it is not a gimmick.
Right.
But he continues to perform. When he goes on tour, his shows sell out. He is jazzy as well. You know, he definitely digs deep into his catalog. He provides not only a horn section, but he is a saxophone player. You'll hear him play on many of his albums, and he's a brilliant songwriter. When I think of singing and how beautiful it can be, I always think of this little Irish guy named Van Morrison. And, albums that you should check out are Astro Weeks, his band in the street choir, A Sense of Wonder, and Avalon Sunset. My next on my list, next guy on my list is David Bowie. All right.
I'll give it to you.
He's born on
it's not that far-fetched.
January 8th, 1947. He's 68 years old. He is the chameleon of the music world. This guy can change from year to year. If it's not writing music about fear and sexual confusion, it is about texture. It's the true depth of melodic songwriting. A multi-instrumentalist. He's a saxophone player by trade. That's first instrument right there. Graduating to piano, guitar, and many more instruments, Bowie presents a world of incredible taste with dabs of the theatric to utter sexual needs. He can create alter egos such as Ziggy Stardust or Aladdin Sane, or he can become the Thin White Duke, all of which borrow from rough rock to sinful ballads. Bowie has produced many albums for a lot of great artists, including Lou Reed, Transformer, The Stooges' Raw Power, and Mata Hoopo's All the Young Dudes, which he wrote the famous track for. Okay.
Unbelievable.
Bowie isn't afraid to make music that isn't conventional as well, such as the time when Bowie was becoming heavily relied on drugs and alcohol. He decided he wanted to get clean, so he moves to Berlin and lives and starts working with musician and producer Brian Eno, which produced the Berlin sessions of Low, Heroes, and Lodger, while working with Iggy Pop, who has been dealing with a lot of issues after leaving the Stooges. He begins producing Iggy's The Idiot and Lust for Life while playing keys on those albums as well. If you like David Bowie just as much as I do, then you already know the influence that he has shared with a lot of artists. Anytime that you hear progressive metal that has, very complex lyrics, extremely melodic, you have David Bowie to thank for that, especially during the times in which he works with Brian Eno on these albums. And we'll even touch on that in our pick of the week. Check out the albums Let's Dance, Young Americans, Heroes, Lodger, Low, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, Aladdin Sane, Heathen, Reality, and his most recent, The Next Day.
He's the man.
Madonna. Madonna Louise
you were doing so
Chacon
well. You were doing
was born
so well.
August 16th, 1958. When you think of icons, She has to come up. She needs to come up. She does come up for me. Music fans, critics, industry moguls, you all know her. She is the definition of stardom. Madonna, like David Bowie, is a chameleon, but of the pop and dance scene. She always finds a way to stay relevant in the music industry. Her tours across the world sell out. Her press clippings are always a treat to read or listen or watch. She's not afraid to make fun of herself. She's not afraid to go out and call somebody out and stick with it. She's been in movies. She's done comedy. She's written table books. She has dated many of Hollywood's A-list, including top-tier athletes. Her albums speak for themselves. Her self-titled debut album, Like a Virgin, True Blue, Like a Prayer, Erotica, Bedtime Stories, Ray of Light, and Music.
Aaron's mentioning all the reasons why she would be on my other list. She dates sports figures. I mean, what are you talking about? But again,
she is the pinnacle. She is the pinnacle of icon. She does what she wants.
She is an icon.
If she wants to be with somebody, she wants to define who she is or what she is or who she's with at the time to define who she is. That's what she does.
And anyone that's in my vinyl collection, I can't put on a bad list. Her first album is in my collection, so hey.
Many older fans or listeners have mentioned that the Material Girl has lost a step. That's why probably you're thinking Trashmore or Flushmore. But you know what? The one thing I can always say about Madonna, and she's constantly done this, she's always able to reinvent herself. And then you know what? We're always pouring more money in to hear what she's got to say and what she's putting out next. I think we haven't heard the last of great music from Madonna. I will say that her last 3 albums haven't been that great. But I think that we're just going to get to the incredible third act to come. I think she's in that renaissance of trying to still be, peak to heading into the twilight of her career. I think when she establishes herself,
I've said it before,
in her twilight,
I think
it's going to get even better.
And hopefully it's coming soon. I think it's time for her to embrace the, classic part of her career and to really go back and maybe do a whole tour of that's just like a whole album or just all the really classic 80s stuff or something. I think people are ready for that, and I don't think it's just relying on your past work. I know that she has a problem with that, but I don't know. I think people would enjoy it.
The last person on my Mount Rushmore list of musicians is John Coltrane. Born on September 23rd, 1926, died 1967 on July 17th. At age 29, Coltrane was a recognized sideman, most noticeably for Miles Davis working with him. A solo artist by the age of 33 in 1960, Coltrane was my first introduction to jazz music. A Love Supreme, in my opinion, is perhaps one of the must-own or need-to-listen-to albums before you die. I don't care if you like jazz or you're a big fan. If you have not heard A Love Supreme, stop listening to us right now. Go buy A Love Supreme and listen to it and understand the spirituality, the intense playing from that quartet that comes out and is able to perform what he is envisioning is a spiritual release. It's complex, it's passionate, it's reflective, it's revolutionary, it's empowering, and all above, it's creative. And that's what, to me, John Coltrane stood for. His music introduced me to artists such as Miles Davis, drummer Elvin Jones, drummer Jack DeJohnette, guitarist John McLaughlin, pianist McCoy Tyner, saxophonist Wayne Shorter, Branford Marsalis, Jeff Teen Watts, drummer, and countless others who have made hard bop to fusion jazz such a wonderful discovery for not only musicians, but for music listeners to hear hard bop jazz and fusion jazz coming together with electric piano and electric guitar. Check out A Love Supreme. And that's really all I'm going to say about that. Just go to the store right now and buy A Love Supreme, and you'll find why John Coltrane is on my Mount Rushmore of music artists. Trashmore time. Number 1, Santana. Why haven't you made better music since, let me see right here, 1972's Love, Devotion, Surrender, that you teamed up with John McLaughlin from the Mahavishnu Orchestra.
Now, I'll admit that I don't know a lot about Santana's career. I know a little bit. But there was a time, right, that after like the early 70s, and then especially the late 70s into the early 80s, Santana really kind of turned into like a pop organization for a while, right? Where he had those singles like "Winning" and a lot of that pop stuff. Is that so you're saying that would be not good?
Not good. Not good at all. I'm gonna just say one thing, and I'm gonna give him credit right here. He has a 1987 album titled "Freedom." That on that album, drummer and guitarist, the late great Buddy Miles, is his lead vocalist. And there are a few tracks on that vinyl record that are pretty darn good, including Vera Cruz, which opens up that album. But after that, I don't know whether Santana felt that he doesn't need to try to be an artist anymore, that he needs to work harder on his craft in terms of creating riffs or just writing great music, but he's become a parody of himself. He is a marketing
definitely you would be
musician that, speaks for the bad part of why you want to be a guitarist, because everything sounds the same. It's always going to be an Oye Como Va or, whatever else, that he's had. If you really want to listen to what Santana was all about, go back to 1969 and his debut album. 1970's Abraxas. 1971, Santana 3. You'll find out why he was such a great guitarist, and then you'll wonder.
Two of my guys that are big in my camp appear on those albums. Greg Rowley on keyboards, awesome vocalist, went on to sing a lot of great songs for Journey, and of course Neil Schon, who was sort of a underling of Carlos Santana, learned how to play and was playing in the Santana band at the age of 15. So yeah, that's great stuff, man.
And that's where
But I do get what you're saying about, a guy that sort of came on the scene and was really unbelievable, and then it kind of just got stale. Yeah. And of course and I know you don't like any of like the 90s stuff. No. You don't like any of like the Rob Thomas.
No. And that's just what adds more
hate.
Pain to it. I think the only pop and the best pop song he did was with, I believe, Michelle Branch.
That's a good song.
That's a great song. I could see if he wanted to do a project based on that.
There's two songs with her that are good.
But, otherwise
he should just work with her.
Yeah. Otherwise than that, he's garbage. Get rid of him.
All right.
Janet Jackson. All right, get over it. We know that you like sex, or you may be bisexual.
But can you say that about Madonna?
But you know what, though,
you're
Madonna,
and you're
okay. One thing's for certain. Madonna hit after hit after hit after hit. She spawned off people like Janet Jackson.
Hit after hit
no, but she has helped spawn off people like that. Janet had to start thinking like a Madonna in order to make it big.
Right.
All right. Yeah. But it's done. And then trying to play like the innocent young girl that she tried to do with It's All For You. I think it's the album back in like 2000, 2001.
That's a good song. That's a great song.
And it all started with the Velvet Rope, that one album that she did that was like 18 songs on a terrible album. All right, terrible album.
Deep.
Why don't you just go grab
till it's gone?
Go grab a band, start writing some good music, and then come talk to me when you do that. Mariah Carey is my next artist on the Trashmore. Okay. She had a great career when she first hit the scene. She had a nice little pop sound. She also had some great ballads. That Tommy Mottola was managing her. Columbia was making great money. She was making great money. Things were great.
Big time.
And then he started slapping her around, from what I understood.
No.
That's what I've always read. That's what I've read.
Stop it.
But needless to say, a bolt got loose.
You better be careful talking about him like that. You know about him, right?
Yeah.
I love you. I love Tommy Mottola. I'll do anything you say. I want to be with you. Me and you.
Don't sell me out. Don't sell me out.
Listen, I don't know what this guy's talking about. No, but but I will say though that we talked about this last week, that the album that came out after her divorce from him and kind of her emancipation was a great album.
Yeah, that was the end. That was the end. But you had to start wondering, whenever she was making these music videos, before then, she was dressing in jeans. She had like a t-shirt. It was sensual, but
Subtle.
you could, yes, subtle.
Girl Next Door,
yes,
subtle.
And then all of a sudden, she's making these videos that she's making with these tight dresses, and she's on a ski boat, and you see her, everything's tightened up. It's looking tight. And okay, I like how she looks. I think she's a beautiful woman. But you can tell when the screws are a little loose, and you start thinking, okay, where is she really going with this? And she wanted to be an actress. She makes glitter, and that just flops. Stick to what you know, Mariah Carey. Get back to the foundation of what made you, which is making just great records, getting great songwriters to come along and produce your stuff. And I think that I'll take you out of the landfill. But until then, you're staying there. And last but not least, and I'm going to make this quite brief, Morrissey, the former lead singer of the Smiths, just quit whining. Quit whining. You're always talking about, the
I just don't have much of a base.
Vegetarians that are not vegetarian enough. Meat eaters are terrible. You diss Royal Oak. I went to see him at a concert where he was at the Royal Oak Music Theater. Everyone was having a good time. And then I read an article that the security was beating people with sticks. And I'm like, everyone was having a good time. Where was the sticks? I didn't see any sticks. And then if he's not releasing an album that he's been talking about for 10 years, it's always about a book that he's writing or he's going to write or has been written. And then he's whining about getting groped at an airport, but nothing has been brought up on that. I mean, if you've been violated, yes, report that. But obviously, I don't know whether the guy is trying to get attention or he's just being a whiny baby. And for that, you deserve to be in the trash and in the landfill. And there you go. That's my Mount Trashmore Flushmore.